On this episode of the Procedurally Generated Show, Shannon struggles with his fat fingers, Tony makes something, and Ethan finds his destiny in Gambit. We talk about the week's biggest news and answer your questions. Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Procedurally Generated Show. I'm your host, Tony, and joining me this week, I've got Ethan.
Avasti internet people.
I don't think that's quite how it went.
I've already forgotten.
Already ruined it. It's a great way to start the show.
Yep.
Especially when I don't know what to say.
Well, all right, then I'll just move on. Hey, Shannon, what's going on?
Oh, not much. How are you, Tony?
I am good. I could be making Mario levels right now.
We could all be making Mario levels right now.
We could. Speaking of that,
Forget
I need to get your Mario Maker ID. We'll talk about that later, though.
Wait, you have an individual ID outside of your Nintendo Network ID?
Yes, because you can look up specific people.
Because Nintendo doesn't know how to do friends still.
Why?
You can't just look up your friends. You have to type in their Mario Maker ID, which is shorter than a friend code, so you don't have to worry about typing in lots and lots of numbers.
All right.
So I'll get that from you after the show, not during the show. So
If you do it during the show, I'm not cutting it out.
No? I mean, I think that's okay. I think everybody else could have Shannon's Mario Maker ID. I don't think he'd mind.
I might make one level. Just maybe.
I've got... speaking of Mario, we might as well go ahead and get into it. You and I have both been playing a lot of Mario Maker. I think all three of us have actually been playing a lot of Mario Maker this week.
Yep.
But I've got a group of guys that I talk to on Twitter, and we're all like dads, and we're making levels that are for our kids, so they're super easy. We're just all going to share the dad levels and make all the dad levels for all the kids.
Meanwhile, I'm over here watching Kaizo levels on YouTube.
Yeah, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, I didn't know Kaizo levels were a thing, and that's
I just ruined your world.
It doesn't look like fun. It looks like torture. That's like, I hit a certain point in the original Mario Maker. I was like, okay, I think I've had all the fun I can have with this, because all of the levels coming out and showing up at the top of the popular list was all horrible. You can't beat this unless you're a god game.
Yeah.
Well, it also falls
they were
into
all auto runners.
It depends on the category that the level is. If it's Kaizo difficulty or if it's trolling difficulty. If it's trolling, that means you just got to get lucky and find whatever to get through there. Yeah. Kaizo's like hope for the best and get good at making these jumps.
The thing is, with Kaizo levels, if you know it's a Kaizo level, you go in knowing that you're in for a frustrating time, and you have to be really precise and have, really high level Mario skills. A lot of the levels, though, that you would see from people were just straight up troll levels that don't tell you that, and that's where it gets frustrating.
Oh, what's that? You want to jump? Invisible block. You want to jump again? Another one. Ha ha ha.
That's not good level design. That's just being a jerk on the internet.
Granted, that does fall into Kaizo as well, but Kaizo's at least classy about it.
Yeah. So, but Mario Maker 2 is out. We talked for like 30 seconds about it last week, to basically say we weren't going to talk about it yet until this week. Shannon, you've been playing a bunch. Ethan, I know you and I have talked about it a little bit. We finished the story mode. Shannon, what are your overall thoughts of Mario Maker 2?
I think that I am not more excited or more disappointed with this than I was original Mario Maker. They have removed some things that I thought were excellent in the original Mario Maker, and they have added some things that have made it a little better. So it's kind of a wash.
Okay. What are What are some of the things that you think are better so far?
It's cool to have slopes. That's cool. I like the on-off switches. I think that has turned into making some really neat levels. Um, I like the fact that I can take it on the go and have my have the levels, the course world. Like I can go visit the course world and still take it on the go with me, because Mario Maker on 3DS was Mario Maker on 3DS, but you didn't have the course world.
Mhm.
So it's nice to kind of have the internet right there with infinite Mario levels. As far as things that I'm disappointed are gone, the amiibo support is 100% removed.
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed in that, because I liked being able to just give the amiibo their most purposeful function ever out of any game.
Rest in peace, Amiibo.
It really stinks that they're gone. I can't make my Isabelle game. I can't make uh, I can't take all my Animal Crossing characters and turn them into Mario level runners now. So, um, I don't know. It's I, I'm also not too much of a fan of the level creating. I think it's kind of bum experience, both on the television and on the gamepad by itself. So I don't
Really?
know. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of having to use the touchscreen with my fat fingers and trying to lay blocks and realize that I'm putting them kind of all over the screen when I'm wanting to put them in very precise locations. And the fact that you can't, when you're in handheld mode, you can't use the analog sticks to place blocks. I think that's an oversight. I hope they change that in the future. And then when you're playing it on TV, the fact that they removed the motion control, or like you can't use the motion to try and draw on the screen, which there are a lot of Nintendo proper games that use the motion of the Joy-Cons to let you kind of control a stylus or a cursor on the screen, and it works very well. I don't know
Yeah.
why they didn't leave it in Mario Maker.
That's sort of the biggest drawback to me with creating levels on the TV itself, because that does seem like that would have made perfect sense.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of games that use it and use it well. One of the ones that probably none of you have played is that Korg Music Maker, and when you're using that Korg chip tracker on TV, it uses the motion, and you're literally laying notes on a chip tracking grid. It looks like a sheet of graph paper, just like Mario Maker, and you can be pretty daggum precise with it with the motion controls on the TV. So I don't know why it's not a feature in this.
Yeah.
So.
No, I can totally understand that. World of Goo is the first game that I remembered, or remember seeing on Switch, that used the Joy-Cons as a pointer really well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought it would have translated really nicely over to Mario Maker, because it is a little bit clunky, and I found I don't generally make levels on the TV. I pull it out of the dock and I use it handheld. I've got a stylus that I bought specifically for making levels in Mario World, and that seems to work really well. There's a few little things about the interface, like it seems a little more crowded this time around with everything. And there are a couple of different options I saw for zoom level, but there's not a lot.
They also seem to have taken a lot of the playful stuff out of the game. Like you used to change the functions of certain enemies and stuff, you would have to like shake them or hold on them for a while, and now it's just a radial menu to kind of change that stuff up.
Yeah, and you tap and hold on enemies to like add wings to them or give them the mushroom,
right?
Things like that. So yeah, it does seem like they're trying to make it more of a utility rather than a fun sort of level creation type thing.
Yep.
Which, you know, I do see a little bit of a drawback to it, but at the same time, there were a lot of times in Mario Maker 1 where I really didn't want to be rubbing a stylus across my screen to do things. There were times I found myself just being like, I really wish I could just tap a couple things here real quick to do this. Because it seemed like it took longer sometimes to do things than I really wanted it to.
I'll give you that.
I wish they would have some kind of, I don't know, smartphone functionality that work with the game, so you could at least do the map making with that or something.
Yeah, this would have been a really nice addition to like the Switch Online app, to be able to use it to, even if you can't create things, which would have been nice. Like if you have a tablet that you use, you could have, it would have been nice to do that and create levels that way. But to at least be like away from your house, if you want to look at look at the course world and see, okay, there's this new level that everybody's talking about, and I want to, download that right now so I don't forget about it later. To, open up the app, type in the code for the level or the creator, and then just have it automatically download to your Switch so that it's waiting for you when you got home.
Be very handy to have something like that.
Like they have with the Smash Brothers app. So that would have been really nice. Overall, though, I've found the level creator to be really, really nice. It's fun to just sit around and make levels. I'm not a great level designer. I will probably never be a great level designer. Most of my levels are probably pretty easy overall. But like I said, a lot of times I'm designing levels for my kids, and my two youngest kids, they're not going to be finishing Kaizo levels. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I bet Andrew might be able to finish some Kaizo levels that I couldn't finish. But I've been enjoying the level editor, and there's a lot of really creative stuff out there already. I do like that they give you, and I don't remember if they did it in the first game or not, the sort of dislike button.
Yeah.
I don't remember that being in the first game. So it's nice to be like, okay, yeah, this is not a great level.
I think the first game just had like a star function.
I think so. But using that to like or dislike levels, and then to be able to leave comments so that you can tell the person who's created it, hey, you might want to tweak this part of the level a little bit, or give them your exact thoughts on that invisible block they put right over a pit that you managed to find. So I've been really enjoying that. What do you guys think about the story mode of the game?
I think it's really cool. It's neat to have a like, this feels like the first time the coins have ever actually meant something. Because you're having to buy pieces of the castle. Yes, it was a really crummy setup to a problem, but it still feels nice to have a reason to go around and collect every coin in every level that I'm completing. Because I mean, the only time prior to this that I think Nintendo's ever put an emphasis on coins was New Super Mario Bros. 2 on 3DS.
Yeah,
and
where you were
that
trying
was
to get a
just
million coins.
Yeah, and even that was just to change your title screen. It didn't really do anything purposeful in the game.
Yeah.
So,
and it's really nice to see the Nintendo level designers, that group, be able to do stuff that is very creative that you normally wouldn't see in a regular Mario title. But at the same time, all of those still feel like actual Mario levels. There's nothing that you couldn't say, okay, this would be completely out of place in a game. And the only reason they're not in any of the other games is because we haven't had the chance to put a level like this in the game. So it feels like a Mario game, but every level feels completely different from the one before it. A lot of times they're specifically trying to show off some new tool in the game and get you then motivated to use that tool in your own levels, and see some really fun and interesting ways that those tools can be used that maybe you wouldn't have thought of before. So
Yeah.
And I liked the fact that some of the levels were not specifically designed to get coins, but to give you things to just customize your Mii.
Yeah.
So I love being able to do different things with your Mii. I wish Miis were more integrated into the Switch than they are. Because that was something with the Wii and the Wii U I always liked, and I would have loved to have been able to customize them more like you could your avatar on 360.
Mm-hmm.
But they never really let you do that. And now they do, but then the Miis are only used sparingly as, menu icons inside games and not at a system level.
Right.
I did like how the levels would introduce you to new mechanics that are introduced in this game, like the claws, how to use them or how to avoid them, and then like the get through the stage carrying the stone or whatever, or the don't jump stuff. Those are all pretty well done.
Those were some really interesting. They threw out some really interesting level completion requirements that we've never seen before, which was really, really fun.
And that's going to make for a bunch of interesting games levels, not games.
Yeah. Some of those ones, like the ones where you had to carry the stone throughout the level, were interesting. Because it completely takes away the one thing Mario's really good at, and that's jumping. And when you're carrying the blocks, you can't jump more than I think his jump is maybe like half a block high. It's really short.
He's really heavy.
Yeah. And so you'd have to use that to like, you pick up the stone and you have to throw it way ahead of you or throw it up onto a platform that's moving and then follow it up and pick it back up and continue to throw it down the level. And then you could use it to attack enemies as well. The one level that I found was really, really frustrating, though, it's towards the end of the levels that are in the story mode, but there are 10 toads that you have to escort through the level.
Oh, gosh. I remember that.
And that level was incredibly frustrating because you have the 10 toads, you have the angry sun that is, going back and forth, and then they fill the screen with lots of projectile throwing enemies. So you have
Don't
to
let those toads get hit. They'll go flying off.
Because then they pop into their bubble, Yoshi's Island style, and you have to chase them down like Yoshi does Baby Mario in that game. And then you have to make it to the end of the level with all 10 or you can't complete the level. So I'd be curious to see how many of these things make it into the next 2D Mario game from them, if they bring any of these mechanics over into those games, like the completion requirements, like being not jumping.
Yeah, if you just having any type of quest type in a level instead of just going from start to end while getting coins.
It really changes the way you think about how you normally get through a Mario level.
Yeah, I think there's like a haunted house one where you have to carry a stone around, and you have to solve like 4 or 5 different rooms before you can get to the end.
Hmm.
And I really liked doing that level. Is okay, these are puzzle rooms. I got to do this and that. Okay, now I got a whole different room and a whole different problem here. So it's just accounting for stuff I don't normally do in a Mario game, and I really love it. I really liked it.
Yeah. Um, because we know the Mario formula, and the Mario formula works really well. There's a reason that there have been so many of those games, and people continue to buy them. Um, because it's really hard to make a bad Mario level if you've got the basics down, where you're jumping over some pits and kicking some Koopas around. The levels are going to be fun, and that's one thing that I've noticed playing through some of the user created levels, is that while it's really hard to make a really good Mario level, it's also really hard to make a really bad Mario level, with some exceptions. Um,
Challenge accepted.
No,
uh,
no, that wasn't a challenge. Please don't.
Aw.
um, so if you go into the game and the level designer with the idea that you're trying to make a really good Mario level, I think it's going to be really hard for you to make just one that is complete garbage, unless you're doing things like putting invisible blocks where you would normally jump. Or I have seen some instances where people have not thought about things but you've basically soft locked the game where you can't complete it. Um,
Oh, it's like you have one try at this. If you miss it, then you're just stuck.
then you're stuck forever and there's no way to get out. And they didn't think about that, because as they've been playing the level, they know the proper way or the way in their mind that you're supposed to complete the level, but not everybody thinks that same way. And so they don't think about alternative solutions to
Problems.
puzzles or ways to get out of a situation if you've managed to get yourself stuck.
Yeah, that was a big thing people were experiencing with the first Super Mario Maker. Is just the different thought process to getting a solution in these levels. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting seeing that, and kind of helps you develop more on your next level there if you take all that input into
Hmm.
consideration.
Yeah, and with the ability to give comments and feedback about levels, it's really. I hope that gives people, as long as people are nice about it and don't just say your level sucks and don't give you any explanation as to why. I mean, a lot of people are going to do that, but the
This isn't
people that do play
YouTube.
the level and give you that creative feedback and saying, hey, you know what, you did this, but maybe try this. You know what I'm saying? And then they can take that feedback for the next level that they make, and even tweak the levels that they've done and re-upload them for people to play again and say, okay, here's, version 2 of this level. Try it out. Tell me what you think.
Exactly.
So, the one thing I do hope that these games do is just give people an appreciation for how hard it really is to make a Mario game, because it's not easy. Um, and one thing that I've noticed in my level design is that that thing where if you're given too many choices, it's impossible to make a choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, that's one of the things that I've really noticed in this game, is you have to limit yourself to one or two things that you want to do in that level, and say, okay, I want to create a level that's focused around the claws or uh, jumping fireballs, and limit yourself to two or three things, and don't try to put everything into the level that you can. So you don't need 5 or 6 enemy types or 5 or 6 obstacle types. Pick two or three, focus your levels around those, and really um, work to make the level that you've got in your head work the way you want it to. So it's easy to be spoiled for choice in this game. And that's, I think, one of the hardest things to get past when you're trying to create your own levels.
I can agree to all that.
Do you guys have any other thoughts about Mario Maker?
I just hope they're willing to do updates and improve upon what's already here.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I mean, they did that with the first game, definitely. There were updates and they added things as they went along. So I'm hoping that this will continue to be updated in the future and we'll see some surprises. There are a couple surprise power-ups in the game that you get as you play through the story. One of them was really nice. I really liked the callback to a previous Mario game, and hope that leads to some other stuff from with classic Mario games. And then one completely new power-up that can really change the way you think about blocks in the game. So, you guys have any other things you want to mention before we move on?
Nope.
All right, Ethan. Well, what else have you been playing besides Mario Maker?
I put more time into Destiny 2 than I did Mario Maker.
Really?
This week, yeah. They had a content drop for getting a new weapon in there called Lumina.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the hand cannons, and it involved doing some. The last step involved doing a bunch of Gambit stuff, and specifically, you had to take out. The hard part was taking out an invader within 10 seconds of them invading, and you had to take them out before they can take out any of your teammates. And Gambit mode is that PvE where you're fighting against enemies and then trying to race another team to do that who's on the same map but in a separate area, and then you can invade or they can invade each other, and it just becomes a PvP kind of mess at the end. So there was a bunch of that. Stuart was very adamant about doing it, so I was like, yeah, we should probably get this done sooner, because the sooner you get on certain things like that, when everyone's more friendly towards each other, because they all understand this is the goal right now, so
yeah,
let's be nice and get this out of the way, and then we can play normally in like a week or so. But then we kept running into people that would just not play to that. They're just all in on fighting against you every step of the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a time doing that. Stuart got his done right away. Then him and Jason were trying to help me get mine done. And there's a little bit of a breaking point when you're not getting it, but every time, even though you're doing it in the time limit that's allowed for everything, and then someone's telling you, hey, he's over there, and they get in your way as you shoot a rocket, and you just yell at them for a second and then turn your mic off, and then you go solo and you do it like on your second try, and everything's good again.
There you go.
So that's kind of what I did this week on there. I also went and got Malfeasance, which was another hand cannon that involved some fun Gambit stuff to do. It has an even more horrible last step than this new gun did. You have to go and invade the enemy side and take out all 4 members in your invasion time. So it required getting good and some massive planning ahead of time. So I was kind of happy I kind of had all that fall into place for me on that. So yeah, 2 legendary guns knocked out.
Nice.
So I'm quite happy on Destiny.
Yeah.
And I'm probably not going to bother including footage of this because, I mean, there's a lot of Mario Maker to talk about there still.
Did you? Was there a bunch of Final Fantasy stuff that dropped this week? Did you get a chance to?
Shadowbringers is officially came out this week.
I know you were close to being able to get to that content. Have you?
Day of, I got to the content. I was 3 quests out from being able to do it whenever the day came.
Yeah.
And it just, I did that. In fact, I think it was like my last light party quest on there. The tank I had the tank in my party was actually using one of the new classes. So that was kind of cool. I was like, all right, cool. We got a guy using the gunbreaker.
Nice.
And then the other DPS was also a monk. So I was like, 2 monks, a gunbreaker, and a scholar all in the same party. How can this go wrong?
Did it go wrong?
We struggled. But we got it done.
Nice.
There was issues with a dragon.
As there is. Dragons can
But
be
the tank, he said that even with like a normal party that knows what to do, they still struggle. So I didn't feel too bad.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Of course, he didn't explain anything to me, so I was kind of going in blind on that. So yeah, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14. That was my week.
Okay, and Mario Maker.
Yeah, I looked at making a level after that story mode stuff. I have an idea. It's just I haven't gone all in on it yet.
Yeah. I'm thinking I may have to grab some graph paper and sketch out some of these ideas before
Oh, you're gonna do it the old-fashioned way, like they did for the first game, Super Mario Brothers.
I may have to do that to get into this game and create some of the levels that I have going on in my head.
Maybe one of these days I'll make a level on that Mega Man Maker.
We've talked about doing that a few times in the past.
I have 2 versions of it installed. There's like probably been 5 new versions made since then.
All right. Well,
We
let's
should do
take
something with those.
We definitely should. I wish Capcom would put that out on consoles like Mario Maker is.
Oh man, that'd be great.
And give us a bunch of different, Mega Man game styles. Mega Man X, all that stuff. So I think that would be...
They would have to work really hard to put that Mega Man 11 stuff in there as its own independent thing, and it's Capcom, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Well, all right. Well, let's take a quick break, and then we will come back, and we will talk about the news. Okay, so Ethan, you basically wrote the news section this week.
Someone had to do it.
What's going on with Shantae?
We have the opening animation for Shantae 5.
It looks really nice.
It looks really, really nice, and it was done by Trigger, who is known for such amazing series as Kill la Kill, Gurren Lagann, I forget what else. Space Patrol Luluco?
Yeah, I just watched that this week.
Yeah, that's the only reason I could remember that one. But yeah, they're a really amazing animation anime company, really. And they did the opening for Shantae 5. It looks really good. I want to say they have the... oh, geez. What's her name that voices Shantae? Doing the voice again. For the music is what I want to say. I can't confirm it, though.
I don't know.
But she did her own scene, or she did the opening song in the Half Genie Hero as well.
Really?
Yeah. You do that first stage. That's her singing, and she voices Shantae. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Christina Valenzuela.
Yes. Yes, I think someone did confirm that or say that she was that, and I just couldn't confirm it.
She's the voice of both Shantae and Risky Boots.
Wow. That's uh hmm. You voice the protagonist and you voice the villain.
She's both the hero and the villain in the same game.
I'm not sure how to feel about that. She's the Judge Dredd of just the Shantae world.
Do we know when the game is actually set to come out? Have they said
Not
anything
that
about
I
it?
know of. I didn't think we'd even see this opening animation until the game was like ready to come out.
That's true. But yeah, we don't know anything about the gameplay or anything like that at this point. I think basically all we know is that the game is coming and we've seen this animation.
I think it's safe to say we'll be whipping enemies with hair.
Yes, that is almost guaranteed.
And
she
turning
will
into a
probably
little monkey.
transform into animals.
A little monkey, definitely.
What if they took the monkey transformation out of the game?
They're gonna have to go and redo that opening intro.
Oh well, there is that. So
that monkey's like a staple of the series. I think it's in every game except for the one where she's got no powers.
I think so. And then a lot of people are making jokes about Shantae being confirmed for Smash now because her window is shaped sort of like a Smash ball.
I thought we were past the Smash confrontation.
Oh, no.
Confirmation.
There's still 2 characters left to find out. We don't know those last 2 characters, so
it's Waluigi and Waluigi.
I realize we all think Waluigi's, or at least I think Waluigi is the last character that they will announce.
Nope.
Yeah, it's guaranteed, Shannon.
I will never play Smash again.
Is that true?
No.
No.
I'll be severely disappointed.
What if the last 2 characters are like Miyamoto's Mii Fighter and who's
Iwata.
Iwata, thank you. What if it's their Mii Fighters?
That would be cool.
I mean, you could already.
I think people would
be.
Game. Yeah, but I think people would be more angry about those.
I don't know. I think if they put Iwata's Mii in the game, I think people would. They'd be okay with that. So.
Well, from a certain standpoint, yes, but I mean
same time, no. There would be a lot of outrage, but I think people would be like, we can't be mad at Iwata being, immortalized in the game forever now. So, I don't know. Metal Wolf Chaos.
Metal Wolf Chaos XD, the HD remake, really, whatever, is finally with a release date. It will be out August 6th this year, and you can pre-order it right now on PS4, Xbox One, and Steam for $25.
Cool.
I like how you specifically put not Epic Games Store in the show notes.
I did. Not that I'm bitter or anything.
What is Metal Wolf Chaos for people who don't know?
It is the best game you've never played.
Okay.
It is a Japanese exclusive Xbox game. Original Xbox game. Where you play as the 47th or 49th or something president of the United States. You have your own mech, and you are fighting the vice president who is trying to lead he's taken over, and you're trying to get everything set back into place.
A coup.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
Bless you. It it was kind of crazy. That was a Japanese only game. It's fully voiced in English.
Hmm.
I think the only thing Japanese on there was a couple of the text boxes and stuff here and there. But it was just such a ridiculous storyline going on there, and just all kinds of crazy mech action in there. It's amazing that it never came out here, and here we are several years later. I think it was Super Best Friends that got people hyped up into that again, like in mass, doing
Yeah.
tweets towards From Software. That's who did it. They're the ones who made the game.
Ah.
And then I think whoever the president or CEO or whatever is FromSoft is, tweets out, it's like, why are people just now asking about this? And then I think Devolver Digitals said, hey, we'll do this if y'all let us. And
Hmm.
so here we are now, a couple of years after the Super Best Friend thing, and they've since split up, sadly. But I mean, we're getting Metal Wolf Chaos, so it's like a really good thing that came from that.
Okay.
Not that they're solely responsible, but you know, they put a good amount of people's interest into this.
Okay. So yeah, and that'll be out on August 6th for $25.
Again, for PS4, Xbox One, and Steam, but not Epic Game Store.
Not
Womp
Switch.
womp.
And not Switch. Sorry, Switch.
Man. Um, for anybody that likes art books, and I am one of those people. I love seeing concept art from video games and movies and stuff. Nintendo is releasing the 25th anniversary Kirby art and style collection that was originally released in Japan back in 2007. Have you guys seen this book
Seven.
at
That
all?
was 17.
17, sorry. Sorry.
I wrote the notes. I know this.
Is this not the book that came with the Kirby Dream Collection?
No.
Okay.
This hardcover art book was originally released in Japan in 2017 to celebrate the series' 25th anniversary. Currently has a spring 2020 release date. It is a 272 page long, 272 pages long, and features 1,800 designs. Some art some of the art
And
in it's never been public before.
the cover is absolutely adorable.
Well, it's Kirby. It's always adorable.
So, well, if it was a North American book, it would be Angry Kirby.
Well, that's what took so long. They had to make all those eyes look angry.
So Shannon, if you haven't seen this book, check it out because that cover is very cute.
Okay.
It's $25 is what we are expecting it to be over here, most likely. Which would be okay. I could add this to my collection. I need to get the third of the Zelda books that were done by Dark Horse. Was it Dark Horse? I think it was Dark
I think
Horse.
it was Dark Horse, yeah.
I've got the green one and the red one. Hyrule Historia, the red one. I need to get that blue one, which was the third one that came out. And then I want to add this Kirby one to my collection because I'm a fan of art books. You mentioned the Epic Game Store a few minutes ago.
Yes, I did.
Right now, Shenmue has been going through a lot of drama, courtesy of the Epic Game Store. There was some updates to the story this week for people who originally backed the game on Steam.
For
What's going on
people
with
who were
that?
backing it originally, and for PC, their choice was to get a Steam code.
Mm-hmm.
There was no mention of an Epic Game Store at the time because Epic Game Store did not
Didn't
exist.
exist, yeah.
Right.
And I think it was Deep Silver who is involved in making Shenmue 3. They're using the Unreal 4. Is it Unreal 4 engine?
Yes.
So yeah, the game's using that. So that, I mean, all that's pointing right back to Epic, who's been helping with this as well because it's their engine. And so I guess about I guess it was like right before E3 or during E3. There was the announcements like, "Hey, we're not doing Steam anymore. We're going straight to the Epic Game Store for as a exclusive." So they said, or of course, people were angry first because
Mm-hmm.
you take the choice away. You don't even give a heads up. You're just like, "Hey, no choice in this. Here's your thing." And so a lot of people are like, "I don't want the Epic Game Store on my computer, and you're not giving me a choice now, and you're taking away the thing you promised." And so I want a refund. They're like, "No, you're not getting a refund." So I think enough people finally got vocal on this,
Yeah.
and I forget which company, Yeeznet. There we go, Yeeznet, whatever. Uh, uh, they're the ones who were saying no to the refunds, but after spending time talking with Deep Silver and Epic Games, Epic Games has come out and offered to fund the refunds for those who don't want the game on, or who don't want to get the game, or those who want a refund because they don't want an Epic Game Store version of it.
Right.
So,
It's it's also kind of a hot mess with the physical copy because like there was a backing tier for
yes.
PC where you were supposed to get a physical copy with the full game on the disc,
Hmm.
and now they're kind of reneging on that, saying, "Yo, we're actually just going to put the Epic Game Store launcher on the disc, no actual game content." So
So
I don't
yeah,
know who in the world would even want that disc. Even people who are okay with the Epic Game Store, just to get a store launcher. I mean, you're not really preserving anything by having that physical copy. It's so
yeah.
weird.
All you're doing is throwing salt into wounds or fuel on a fire from that part.
Yeah.
So as for the refunds, I think there was a rough calculation that it was like 20-25% of the people backing were for PC. And
Mm-hmm.
if, again, rough calculations, I want to say it was like if all of them were to get refunds, you're looking at like $1.2 million if all of that was to be refunded.
Wow.
Granted, that's like pocket change in the day, in what Fortnite makes in a day for Epic Game Store. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
no big loss there, right?
Well, I mean, and it is also worth pointing out that this is kind of tied to what seems to be a 1 year exclusivity with Epic, because
Yes.
Epic is also kind of doing that. Like they pulled Epic in as a dev. I'm not sure if that
It
was
it
mentioned,
was
but
yeah, they were pulled in as a dev, all because I mean it's their engine, they know it best, so they're doing what they can here and there.
right. Right,
Uh,
but I mean, they've in addition to offering refunds to the people who backed with PC and don't want an Epic copy, they did say you could wait a year and get a Steam code. So like that has also been offered to people, but I don't know who in their right mind wants to actually wait an entire year with
it,
your money on hold.
exactly. So people are upset over that, and it's just a lot of people like, give me a refund. I'll wait till it's on a Steam sale and get it for dirt cheap,
Yeah.
or they'll just pirate it. Everything's being thrown around on these forums for this. What Epic did say from all of this is going forward, if they do this or when they do this again, actually, uh, they're gonna be more considerate of like promises of Steam keys and allow those to go out. So like in this case, if it had, I mean, I don't know why they're not doing it in this case, but whatever. That would mean the backers of whatever get their Steam keys, but people who are looking forward to purchasing it when it came out, this
Mm-hmm.
publicly for everyone else, if they were looking forward to getting a Steam version, they would only be able to get it on Epic Game Store until the exclusivity runs out for after that first year or so.
Yeah.
So they do know they messed up on getting this exclusive, so they kind of backtracked and apologized, and so we kind of have a better solution for any possible situation similar to this in the future. But Whether they do it or not, that's up to them.
Mm-hmm.
As for Shenmue 3, while they're not making good on that, I have no idea. But let's see, it was what the game raised $7 million, I believe, in Kickstarter. Sony kicked an undisclosed amount towards it. Deep Silver, I think, did some too. And then you got to take out whatever Kickstarter gets, which I think is like 40%. So yeah, money's an issue on this stuff.
Mm-hmm. It most certainly is. So I'm glad they are finally deciding to give people refunds.
Yeah.
Well, it's because they didn't want to have to deal with lawyers, I'm sure.
Well,
because
yeah.
they knew they messed up.
It was going to cost them less to do this than it was going to have to deal with a lawsuit and give potentially every backer something.
Yeah, because people were going to the Kickstarter terms and conditions for being a kick, whatever it is when you're selling your item on Kickstarter like that. And
it is kind of worth pointing out that those Kickstarter terms and policies have changed post the Kickstarter window for this, because I believe that happened following a lot of the Mighty Number 9 stuff after that game actually came out. Because like the rules nowadays for launching a new Kickstarter, especially if you're using it as a sales tool, are wildly different from what they used to be. So
yeah,
I don't know how much people could actually force Kickstarter to hold them to these terms that were written after that Kickstarter window.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it would also depend on whether Kickstarter decides to make that retroactive or not, based on whether the item in question is done or not as well.
Very true. Very true.
And that's information we just don't have because we don't have it.
Well, I imagine there will still be more to this story as we go on. So we will definitely keep an eye on that. But let's go ahead. We got one more news story this week, and it is about Mario Maker. And that is, the game's been out for what, a week or a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks at this point. And someone has already created a 32-course full game inside Mario Maker.
It's insanity.
This is a Canadian player. His name is Third Strongest Bunny on there, and you can see some of the courses that we're talking about right now. And his Mario Maker ID is in the show notes if you want to check out these levels yourself. But he has taken 16 levels from a previous version of this that he did in Mario Maker 1 and added 16 brand new levels. He went back and tweaked some of the older levels to work a little better in Mario Maker 2, make some changes, I guess, from feedback from people when he had originally done it, and has put together 32 levels that fit together as one proper game. He's got it cordoned off like in the original Mario game. These are all done in the Super Mario World style, as you can see, but he's got, World 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4 that all have different names, such as let me pull this back up here.
Bunny Basin.
Yeah.
Buzzy Basin.
Buzzy Basin.
Buzzy Bunker. Torta Hills.
Yeah, Fritter Forest. Things like
Cinnamon
that. And then
Caverns.
Yeah. And then, of course, it ends with 4 Bowser levels that all take place on airships. And I've played through the equivalent of the first 2 worlds, the Buzzy Basin and Tort Hills, and can say that these are really well done. They feel very much like a proper Mario game done in that Super Mario World style. Definitely, I would highly recommend anybody that's playing the game go check these out. He's taken 32 levels is the most that anybody can upload right now which I think is less than what you could do in Mario Maker 1,
So
but
Mario
more
Maker
than you could
1,
originally do.
Mario Maker 1, I think it was 16, and then you had to have, like, what you call it? Like, if you had so many likes or stars on your levels, they would start adding to what you could actually do, because I guess they saw you as a quality content creator and wanted more of your content on the server. So,
yeah. And I imagine that this 32 level number may get increased in the future as well for people that, just like in the first game, if a lot of people are liking the levels that you're making, they're going to want you to create more, and so they'll allow you to upload more. And at that point, he may go in and add more levels to this game. Who knows? But it's a very nice so far 32 course world. That if you're looking for a really good Mario experience, go check those out because they're really, really fun. I don't know if either of you guys have had a chance to check these levels out.
Not yet.
But not only is it's got the regular, run through the level, but then he's also hidden those red coins throughout, I think, every level or almost every level that will give you alternate paths that you can take and special secret bonus areas if you find all of the coins, many of which are well hidden. I haven't found all of them in any level yet. So that tells you he's got plenty of multiple paths and hidden areas that you can try to find to search for these red coins. So really, really nicely done. Go check those out if you have Mario Maker 2, because I think you'll really enjoy them. But
I will consider that.
That is it for this week. We don't have any listener feedback, so make sure you send us your emails and your questions through Facebook and Twitter for next week, and we will answer all of those questions. So thank you, Shannon, for being on the show this week.
Happy to do it.
And thank you, Ethan.
Yeah, Metal Wolf.
If you want to reach out to us, we have tons of new ways to do so. You can email us at podcast@procgent.com. That's PROCGENT.com. You can send us a voicemail if you want by clicking on the voicemail link on the right side of the website. You can send us voicemails up to 90 seconds in length, and we'll play those on future episodes of the show and respond to the questions that you have. If you like what we do here, you can now support us on Patreon, patreon.com/pgint. Patreon supporters will get a video version of the podcast a day early. These will normally go out on Tuesdays. Patreon supporters will get them on Monday. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/progenint. Check out our YouTube channel that we've got and see the content we've got going on up there. And then we still do have the Facebook group where you can interact with us on a daily basis as well.